I used to believe I had the kind of marriage people envied. My name's Emily, I'm 32, and for the last 7 years I've been married to Ryan, the man everyone described as the dream husband. He was charming, successful, attentive, the kind of guy who remembered my coffee order and left sticky notes on the fridge saying, "Love you, Em." We met in college at a coffee shop off campus where I worked part-time. Ryan came in one rainy afternoon, soaked, with that confident smirk that seemed to own every room he walked into. I was 21, awkward, still trying to figure out who I was. He asked for a caramel latte but stayed for an hour, pretending to study while finding every excuse to talk to me. By the end of the week, he knew my schedule, my favorite books, and even the brand of my perfume. Fast forward 10 years, and we were living what most would call a quiet dream. A cozy house in the suburbs outside Seattle, a golden retriever named Daisy, and a life that looked so perfectly curated it could have been a Pinterest board. But what people didn't see, what I refused to see, was how easily perfect can turn into fragile. The first sign wasn't obvious. It never is. It started with his phone. Ryan used to be the kind of guy who left his phone everywhere, on the counter, on the couch, sometimes even in the bathroom. He'd tell me, "If you ever need it, just grab it." He had nothing to hide. But about 6 months ago, that changed. Suddenly, his phone was glued to him like an extra limb. If it buzzed, he'd snatch it up instantly, sometimes walking out of the room to answer. At first, I brushed it off. He'd recently been promoted to project manager at his tech firm, and I figured he was under stress. Late night calls, tight deadlines. It made sense. But then came the password change. One night his phone lit up when we were watching Netflix. A notification popped up from someone named Jess M. Before I could even glance twice, he grabbed the phone, turned it face down, and said, "Just work stuff." I laughed. "Since when do people at your company text you with hearts in their names?" He smiled but didn't answer. That night, when he was in the shower, I picked up his phone, more out of curiosity than suspicion. For years, I'd known his passcode, 0417, our anniversary. But when I entered it, the screen blinked red. Wrong code. Once, twice, 3 times. That's when my stomach dropped. I told myself not to jump to conclusions. People change passwords all the time, right? Maybe it was a company policy. Maybe it was nothing. But then came the weekend work trips. Ryan started traveling more. Portland one week, San Diego the next. Each time he'd pack light, kiss me on the forehead, and promise to FaceTime every night. And he did at first, but gradually the calls became shorter, then less frequent. "Sorry, babe. Rough day, crashing early." It didn't add up. So, like any wife with too much anxiety and too much access to Google, I started digging. One night while doing the laundry, I noticed a faint lipstick stain on one of his white shirts. Not bright red, something more subtle. Mauve-colored. I don't wear lipstick. Haven't in years. When he got home that night, I held up the shirt. "What's this?" He blinked. "Oh, coffee spill at work. You know how the break room is." I stared at the stain. Coffee? Mauve-colored coffee? He changed the subject before I could press. That was the moment I realized something was seriously wrong. The next few weeks became a blur of denial and detective work. I started paying attention. His cologne changed, he started hitting the gym more, his texts became shorter, and his hugs colder. Then came the night that changed everything. He told me he had a late client meeting downtown. It was a Friday. I was supposed to meet my sister, but she canceled last minute, so I decided to surprise Ryan with his favorite Thai takeout. I drove to his office, half excited, half nervous. When I pulled into the parking lot, his car wasn't there. I thought maybe he'd gone to dinner with coworkers, but something in my gut told me to stay. So I waited. 30 minutes later, I saw his car pull in, but he wasn't alone. a tall woman stepped out of the passenger side. Blonde, slender, dressed like someone who doesn't usually mix business with pleasure. Ryan was smiling. That same smile he used to give me when he thought no one else was watching. They stood by his car, talking, laughing, and then he touched her face. It wasn't just casual. It was intimate. I froze. My heart started pounding so hard, I thought I'd throw up. He leaned in and kissed her. Not a peck, not a friendly goodbye. A real kiss. The world around me just disappeared. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the food. I wanted to scream, to run up and slap him, to demand an explanation, but I didn't. I drove home instead. That night, I didn't confront him. I couldn't. I needed to think, to plan, to know before I accused. So I started gathering proof. The next morning, I made coffee, smiled like nothing had happened, and when he went to shower, I went through his laptop. I knew he synced his emails there sometimes. That's when I found them. Hundreds of messages. Not from Jess M., but from Jessica Monroe. Subject lines like, "Last night was amazing," and "Can't wait to see you again." Photos, messages, receipts. They'd been seeing each other for months. I stared at the screen, my chest tightening until I thought I'd collapse. That morning, I realized my marriage, the one everyone thought was perfect, was nothing more than a beautifully wrapped lie. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw it again. Ryan's hand brushing that woman's hair behind her ear, the kiss, the way he smiled like he hadn't smiled at me in months. By morning, my pillow was soaked. I stared at the ceiling, thinking about every laugh, every "I love you," every promise he'd ever made. They all sounded fake now, hollow. But here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't just break you, it wakes you. Something inside me flipped that morning. The weak, trusting version of me died quietly with the sunrise. By the time Ryan came downstairs in his crisp white shirt and that smug morning grin, I was someone else entirely. "Morning, babe," he said, pouring coffee like nothing had happened. "Morning," I replied, forcing a smile. "Sleep okay?" "Like a baby," he said, grabbing a protein bar. "Heading out early. Big meeting." I nodded. "Good luck." And just like that, he was gone. The moment the front door shut, I went into mission mode. The first clue, the receipts. I started with what I already knew, her name, Jessica Monroe. Her emails were all over his laptop. She was listed as a marketing consultant. The messages between them were disgusting. Not just flirty, intimate. He called her baby. She called him my man. There were dinner reservations, hotel confirmations, even an Uber receipt from the Waterfront Inn, a boutique hotel by Lake Union, just 15 minutes from our house. That detail stung the most. He didn't even have the decency to go far. I printed everything, emails, photos, receipts, and kept them in a folder labeled Taxes 2024. I figured if he ever saw it, he'd never look twice. Then I created a fake email under the name Heather Lane. She didn't exist. She was just my mask. Using that, I signed up for a free trial on a background check site and searched for Jessica Monroe, Seattle. What I found made my stomach twist. She wasn't just some random girl from work. She was a divorced 30-year-old who used to work for another tech firm, one that happened to be Ryan's former client. Her LinkedIn profile had the same company logo I'd seen on some of his old files. They'd known each other longer than I thought. Much longer. The second clue, the hotel visit. The following Friday, Ryan claimed he had a team-building retreat at a nearby resort. He kissed me on the forehead like he always did before work trips, but this time I didn't kiss back. He noticed. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said softly. "Just tired." He smiled. "Don't stay up too late, binging true crime again." The irony. Once he left, I packed a small bag, put Daisy in her crate, and followed him. Carefully. I stayed 2 cars behind on the freeway. My hands shook the entire drive, but adrenaline kept me steady. He didn't go to a resort. He went to that same hotel, the Waterfront Inn. I parked across the street, heart pounding so loud I could barely hear. He got out, sunglasses on, phone in hand. Then she appeared, Jessica, wearing a red dress that made my stomach flip. They kissed right there in the parking lot like they were in a damn movie. Then they walked in together, holding hands. I sat there for 30 minutes, frozen, trying to convince myself this wasn't real. Finally, I got out of the car and walked inside. The receptionist greeted me with a smile. Checking in? No. I'm meeting someone. Ryan Carter?
She checked her screen. Mr. Carter, yes, he's in room 214. Would you like me to call up? My heart dropped into my stomach. No, that's okay, I'll wait. Then I walked straight to the ladies' room, locked the door, and cried silently into my sleeve. When I came out 15 minutes later, they were gone from the lobby. I caught a glimpse of them through the hallway window, heading toward the waterfront, hand in hand. Something inside me broke, but something else sparked too. I wasn't going to confront him, not yet. I wanted him to think I was clueless, because the more he lied, the more I'd collect. The spy phase. Over the next few weeks, I became a professional actress. By day, I played the loving wife, smiling, cooking dinner, asking about his meetings. By night, I turned into a one-woman private investigator. I installed a hidden tracking app on his phone while he slept. It pinged every time he left the house. And surprise, every Tuesday and Friday night, he worked late. Guess where the GPS led? Right back to the Waterfront Inn. Once I even followed him to a bar downtown. He met Jessica there, too. They sat in a corner booth, laughing like teenagers. I stayed 2 tables behind her, wearing a hoodie and cap, pretending to scroll through my phone. He leaned in close, whispering something that made her giggle. I wanted to throw my drink at him, but I didn't, because revenge takes patience. The breaking point. Then one night, Ryan came home late, past midnight. I was still awake, pretending to read. He smelled like cologne and whiskey. Rough night? I asked. He froze. Yeah, late client dinner. Really? I said, closing my book. You smell like perfume. He blinked, then laughed nervously. Maybe the waitress. Sure, I said softly. He kissed my forehead and went upstairs. I sat there in silence, staring at the front door, fighting the urge to scream. That night, I realized something. Ryan wasn't just cheating. He was lying to my face every single day, and he thought I was too dumb to notice. That hurt more than the cheating itself. The decision. A week later, I told my best friend Lena everything. She was the kind of friend who didn't sugarcoat. Oh my God, Em, you need to divorce his ass, like yesterday. I know, I whispered, staring at the floor. But I want to do it right. I want him to pay. Lena frowned. What do you mean, pay? I looked up. He's built his career on being the perfect family man. Every promotion, every client, he sells this image. If I go public, if I show what he's really like... Emily, she interrupted, eyes wide. That's dangerous. I don't care. And I didn't, because for the first time in months, I felt something close to control. The week leading up to Friday felt like living in slow motion. Every second that passed was heavy, calculated. I smiled at Ryan, cooked him dinner, kissed him goodnight, all while quietly setting the stage for his downfall. He thought he was untouchable. He thought I was still that sweet, trusting wife who didn't question his late nights or secretive phone calls. But he had no idea that I'd been quietly recording, tracking, and planning his undoing one careful step at a time. By Thursday night, I had everything ready. The receipts, the photos, the videos, even the voice messages he'd left for Jessica. Those cheesy, disgusting, "can't wait to see you, baby," whispers that made my skin crawl. I wasn't just going to confront him. I was going to destroy his double life in one single night. Step 1. The bait. Friday morning, Ryan came downstairs looking like the perfect husband. Buttoned shirt, clean shave, a kiss on my forehead before grabbing his travel bag. "Another overnight meeting?" I asked casually, sipping my coffee. He grinned. "Just one night, babe. I'll be home by noon tomorrow." "Okay," I said softly, pretending not to care. "Drive safe." He smiled, kissed me again, and walked out the door. The moment I heard his car pull away, I dialed Lena. "It's go time," I said. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Once you do this, there's no going back." "I'm sure." She sighed. "Okay, just promise me you'll stay calm." I laughed bitterly. "Calm? I've been calm for months. That's over now." Step 2. The trap. Location. I'd already booked room 214 at the Waterfront Inn, the exact same room Ryan had used with Jessica. I bribed a desk clerk, a sweet college kid named Mia, with a $200 Visa card to give me that room and text me the moment Ryan checked in. She didn't ask questions. At 6:37 p.m., I got the text. "He's here. Checked in with a woman. Same one as before." I took a deep breath and grabbed my bag. Inside were 2 flash drives, one with the video evidence, the other with a slideshow I'd made for him. I also packed my phone tripod, a hidden camera, and a bottle of wine. Not to drink, but to set the scene. Because I wasn't just going to catch him, I was going to make him confess and record every second of it. Step 3. The setup. I got to the hotel around 7:15. I parked in the shadows near the side entrance and slipped through the lobby wearing a black coat and a baseball cap. I made my way to room 214. The hallway was quiet, the only sound a distant elevator ding. I unlocked the door. My reservation gave me the duplicate key. The room looked exactly like I remembered. Modern, dimly lit, the scent of cheap perfume lingering in the air. I set up the small camera near the TV, facing the door, and connected it to my phone's live feed. Then I placed the flash drive labeled, "For you, Ryan," on the coffee table beside 2 glasses of wine. After that, I left, but not far. I parked down the street in Lena's car, watching the live feed on my phone. The plan was simple. Wait until they came back from dinner, let them settle, then make my move.
The morning after the confrontation felt eerily quiet. No yelling, no phone calls, no messages. Just silence. Daisy curled beside me on the couch, head resting on my lap, while I stared blankly at the muted TV. The world looked the same, sunlight spilling through the blinds, coffee brewing in the kitchen, but everything in me had changed. I wasn't Ryan's wife anymore. Not emotionally, not morally, not spiritually. That part of me was gone. Still, I wasn't naive enough to think Ryan would just let me walk away quietly. He was a master manipulator. He'd built his entire career on his ability to charm people, to make them believe whatever story he told. And I knew deep down, he wasn't going to lose gracefully. The calm before the storm. By Monday morning, I'd filed the divorce papers and emailed my lawyer the evidence package, the video, the photos, the texts, and everything else. She called me 2 hours later. "Emily, I have to say," she told me, "you've documented this incredibly well. This kind of proof doesn't just help your case, it practically buries him." "That's the plan," I said quietly. She laughed softly. "Still, brace yourself. Guys like this, they don't go down without a fight." She was right. By Tuesday, Ryan's number popped up on my phone for the first time since that night. I let it ring twice before answering. "Emily," he said, voice low, careful. "Please, can we talk? There's nothing left to talk about. Please, just 5 minutes." I exhaled. "Fine, 5 minutes." He showed up half an hour later, standing on our front porch like some lost soul. His eyes were bloodshot, his tie was gone, his hair looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Can I come in?"
he asked. I hesitated. 5 minutes, then you leave. He stepped inside, looking around the living room like it was a museum of his former life. Emily, listen. What happened at the hotel? What happened is you got caught cheating. He winced. I know, and I hate myself for it. I don't even know why I did it. Oh, come on, Ryan. You didn't just trip and fall into her bed. He sighed, rubbing his face. I messed up. I was stupid. I thought, I don't know, maybe I wanted excitement, something new. Something new? I wanted to feel young again, right? You wanted someone who made you feel like a big shot. Congratulations, you found her. Em, please, he said, voice cracking. Can't we fix this? I stared at him in disbelief. Fix this? You destroyed everything. He took a step closer. I can change. I'll quit my job. I'll cut her off. I laughed, cold and sharp. You think this is about her? This is about you. You lied, you manipulated, and you made me question my own sanity for months. There's no fixing that. He went silent. Then his tone shifted. Calm, but darker. You don't have to ruin me, Emily. I froze. What? He smiled faintly. I know you sent that video to your lawyer, but if it gets out, you'll look just as crazy as me. Stalking, tracking, recording without consent? That won't look good in court. There it was. The real Ryan. Manipulative, cold, dangerous. I met his gaze. You think you can scare me? He shrugged. Not scare, just reminding you that you've got something to lose too. He turned toward the door. I'll be in touch. Don't do anything stupid. Then he walked out, leaving that faint scent of his cologne and a silence that
For weeks, I'd been living in quiet dread, jumping at shadows, second-guessing every noise, checking over my shoulder like I was the one who'd done something wrong. But that morning, standing on my porch, holding that photo, the one that said careful, something inside me snapped. No more fear, no more running. It was time for Ryan to face everything he'd done. The police report. By noon, I was sitting across from a detective named Officer Larkin. Late 40s, calm voice, eyes that had seen everything. He studied the photo, frowning. You're saying this was taped to your door last night? Yes, I said quietly, after my ex-husband showed up here drunk, screaming. He scribbled notes. Do you have proof of his visit? Doorbell cam. That got his attention. I pulled up the footage on my phone. Ryan pounding on the door, slurring threats, his face clear as day. Larkin leaned back in his chair. All right, that's enough to make your restraining order permanent. We'll open a harassment and stalking case. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. But it was only the beginning, because while the police handled the legal part, I had something else in mind. Something that would expose Ryan for what he truly was. The plan. Lena came over that night, her laptop under one arm, and determination written all over her face. Okay, she said, dropping onto the couch. Time for some poetic justice. I gave her a wary look. What are you thinking? Public truth. Controlled, factual, calm. Not revenge, accountability. You're not crazy, Emily. You've got the receipts. It's time the world saw them. I hesitated. You mean online? Exactly. Reddit, Medium, TikTok. Hell, you could do a podcast if you wanted. Just tell your story from your perspective. No rage, no drama, just truth. I thought about it. The risk, the exposure, the judgment. But then I remembered Ryan's Reddit post. The one where he'd painted me as an unstable monster. He'd told his version. Now it was my turn. The post that changed everything. We worked on it for hours. Every sentence carefully crafted, every timestamp verified, every photo blurred to protect Daisy and anyone else innocent.
The post started like this: "My husband cheated on me, gaslit me, and tried to destroy my life. Here's how I took it back. Then I told everything, from the late-night office calls to the confrontation at the hotel, from the lies to the smear campaign, all the way to the night he showed up at my door. We uploaded it anonymously to Reddit, same subreddit where his post had gone viral. Lena hit submit, and we waited. Within an hour, it exploded. Comments flooded in, thousands of them. Holy crap, this woman is a genius for how she handled it. The fact-checking alone makes it legit. Her husband sounds terrifying. Sending love to you and your dog." By midnight, the post had over 50,000 upvotes and was trending across Reddit, Twitter, and TikTok. People started digging, connecting the dots, finding Ryan's company, matching the details. By the next morning, his name was trending. The fallout. For real this time. At 8 a.m., I got a call from my lawyer. "Emily," she said, "it's all over the news. Reporters are calling his company. They're doing an internal review. HR already issued a statement about employee misconduct. What about me? You're untouchable. Your story's clean. You've got proof, timestamps, and witnesses. He can't spin it anymore." I sat in silence, tears in my eyes. After months of chaos, lies, manipulation, fear, the truth was finally louder than his deceit. That afternoon, Ryan called. I didn't answer. Then he texted, "You won. Hope you're happy." For the first time, I didn't feel the need to reply. Moving on. The weeks that followed felt surreal. My house felt lighter, my sleep deeper, no more phone calls in the middle of the night, no more paranoia, just quiet. I went back to work full-time, started jogging again, even took Daisy to the dog park every weekend. Lena joked that I should write a book about it. I laughed, but part of me wondered if I could. Then one day I opened my mailbox and found a letter. No return address, just my name. Inside was a short note, written in Ryan's handwriting. "I lost everything. You got what you wanted. I hope you can live with that." No threats, no anger, just bitterness. I tore it in half and threw it away. Because I didn't ruin his life. He did. I just stopped protecting him from the consequences. Closure. A few months later, my lawyer confirmed the divorce was finalized. Clean break. I sold the house, moved into a smaller place by the ocean, and started over. One evening, I stood on the balcony watching the sunset, the sky painted in gold and pink, and thought about everything that had happened. The lies, the betrayal, the fear, and the strength I didn't know I had until I needed it. Ryan once told me no one would believe me. Now thousands of strangers did. It wasn't revenge that set me free. It was truth. As the last of the sun dipped below the horizon, Daisy nudged my leg, tail wagging. I smiled, knelt down, and whispered, "We're okay now, girl." We made it. The ocean breeze carried the words away, soft, final, peaceful. And for the first time in a long, long time, I believed them.